Um, yeah, I just want to take a moment to welcome and thank folks for joining us for this funding and granting opportunities workshop. It's an info session that we do the second Wednesday of the month. Really an opportunity to bring awareness to money opportunities that exist. We are a Canadian-based organization. I know, Sharon, you're calling in from Charlotte, but I'm hoping that whatever is shared here as well could be translated to your community in the US. One of the things that I will say is that it's definitely great to get connected to your local economic development business services. They support small businesses and nonprofits, but really exciting because we do have some partners in the US who support nonprofits. So Sharon, if you connect with us, we can definitely make those direct connections for you. Our partner is based in Chicago, but works all across the US to help folks in that way as well. So to dive right in, if I don't think we have an issue here. The conversation or piece that we just always ask folks is just change your name to the one you registered with. And this just helps with security overall. If you can, the camera is optional. I know you may see my face. I'm not able to see your face, so it's okay if your camera is off. If you have any questions, raise your hand, your virtual hand, and I will definitely try to get to those, or you could put the questions in the chat, and I do have the chat open on another screen that I will be able to address those accordingly. Just remembering that we want to create a safe space, so just to be respectful to everyone that's here, use the chat, and if you're not speaking, just keep your mic muted, and we will have a great time together. So as we proceed, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that the lands that we operate on here in Brampton, Ontario, are traditional lands of the Indigenous people, and we take pride in knowing that the work that we do has been and continue to be with Indigenous entrepreneurs as part of the way that we acknowledge the contributions that people have made to these lands before and what they're currently still doing. So wherever you are, I invite everyone to just, take a moment to pay homage, acknowledgement to the people that were here before us, and we are grateful to have an opportunity to work and serve on these lands as well. So just a little bit about Empowered Facts. So Empowered Facts is a collaborative community. We offer consulting and training to folks that are entrepreneurs, be it a for-profit or non-profit. We create a space where entrepreneurs can work to become the best leaders in their industry and supporting their teams while they continue to make a positive difference. We are a social enterprise organization, really looking at doing business for good, and the outlet or vehicle that we choose to continue to add value to is serving our youth entrepreneurs, so youth coming out of detention, marginalized or underrepresented youth. We have entrepreneurial programs that we place them in and support them to start their own ventures as well. So that's a little bit about us. We have different training opportunities for any first-time grant writers or people that are looking to enhance their grant writing skill. The Grant Hunter University, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but really, like, where do you start even from a point of researching grants to then being able to structure your grants accordingly? And I know grant writing takes time. So one of the things that we've working to inject in this updated version of Grant Hunter U is how you could leverage a tool like AI to help you write your grants quickly, efficiently, and be able to tailor it according to what the funders are looking for. So additional services that we offer here, we do run marketing agencies. As you know, one of the biggest things why we don't get conversions or sales in our business is the lack of awareness towards our brand, and really making a difference by helping to help entrepreneurs get known to their customer profile. So we do the marketing, we have the grant writing services, which we're talking about here today. We have a technology division where we are able to build websites and applications for folks. We can come in and offer fractional C-level roles, so CMO, CFO, COO, to be able to help you strengthen your business as well. We do business plans for folks. And then really, we have a show called BizGrams, where we interview entrepreneurs like yourself and give you a platform to share in that way. Oh, I forgot to mention, one of the things that we also have is of virtual offices. So if you are an entrepreneur, typically people use their business address as their home address, which creates a lot of vulnerability and reduces your credibility to a funder or a client or different things. So we have spaces whereby you can use our business address as your own at a nominal cost, keeping that overhead much lower. And we couldn't be here, as I said earlier, we are community and collaborative focused, and we have great partners that we have supported and that have supported us, and we continue to work with to bring value to the entrepreneurs that we serve. And that is both in the for-profit and nonprofit space. So just to tell you a little bit about grant writing here, and in fact all of the stuff that we do here at EmpoweredFX, it's really about supporting entrepreneurs going from DIY to modified. DIY is where you get to do it yourself, so we do free info sessions like this, bringing the information to you. We have the Grant Hunter U, which is a self-directed online course that would walk you through the various steps for organizing and structuring your business. But then we do have opportunities along the way. So getting a funding summary, and that just means we take an understanding of your business and we're able to give you some potential grants that you would be qualified for. We do have the blueprint where you can complete it in the Grant Hunter U, or you can complete it with one of our subject matter experts. Some of you may be writing grants and you're like wondering, hey, does this grant, is it good? Can you help me review it? And there's a cost for that. And then we have paid grant writing sessions. So one of the things that we do is we have working groups. So we just completed a working group, a grant writing working group for the Canada summer job. So with a subject matter expertise grant writer in the room, we go through question by question, and you get to push send at the end of that session, right? Because the goal is you're writing the grant in a group space with a subject matter expert, and you're able to get the help that's needed. And the end of the modify, as you're moving along that way, making others do it for you, we have grant writers on staff that could be your grant writers. We can write, we have people that have retained our service for 5 grants over a 12-month period, 10 grants over a 12-month period, a one-time grant, whatever you need, we can put you in front of the grant writer to support you. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Chrisbeth Cowie. I am the founder of EmpoweredFX, and I really started this business in the hopes of helping myself find community that can support me. And we've been able to find mentors, coaches, and other entrepreneurs in this space who have helped us grow over the years. And what I really am passionate about is helping others as well. So not just taking all the help for myself, but bringing that to the community. And that's why we have that home where our virtual addresses are located. And especially for grants, they want to see a premise versus your home address, right? That's really important there. But beyond that, it's helping to market and tell your story in an effective way. And so we're going to go through some of the grants that are available. And again, we're going to be pointing you in different spaces that you can find the resources. So the one other organization, which I am the co-founder of as well, I currently operate as the program manager supporting in that way, is the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. It is a nonprofit. EmpoweredFX is a for-profit. ACBN is a nonprofit, but helping entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage to be able to develop their business and grow in many ways. So one of the things that I will talk about is their lending program, right? So just a little history about ACBN. They have served over 6,500 entrepreneurs. And again, the focus is looking at community, finding funding for organizations, and we are able to help with our micro loans. So there are four main pillars. We look at entrepreneurship, economic empowerment, convening, and access to funding. And so I will kind of just share as part of the collective between EmpoweredFX and ACBN, and these numbers haven't been fully updated for 2024. So these numbers are for the 2025 session, you're going to see these numbers grow, or the grants that we've been able to help people get increase in many ways. So this specifically is ACBN, what our grant writing team was able to secure for them as of, I will say, let's go as of 2022 or 2023 or early 2024, I would say. We have subsequently gotten additional grants for our own nonprofit. But beyond our own nonprofit, being able to write, and these are just some testimonials, right? We've been able to write grants for other organizations as part of our team, and helping other people, which I mentioned before, secure their own funding in that way. And so here's another example of that as well. Yeah, so these are other folks that we've been able to help gather some additional funding for as well. So there's two kind of things that's really essential for business owners, whether you're a for-profit or nonprofit. It is so important to have what we call the grant writing blueprint. It's just a centralized document answering some key questions to be able to communicate and give information to any grant out there. What we've done to create this blueprint is we've looked at over 10 different grants and seen that there's common questions or common trends within the grant. So we've created and structured this document to help you centralize all of your content. So for example, when you see a new grant, someone mentioned that they were looking at a grant or looking at, sending out a grant proposal, you can now say, I have all my documentation and I can put it in that way. And then the second piece that we like to talk about is you should have a business plan, right? The business plan, oftentimes in a grant, they're talking about what are the projects that your organization is going to be focusing on, and being able to tailor the information accordingly for that, right? So one of the first links, and you will have access to this, is the Canada Business Benefits Finder. So for my friend in the US, I am certain there is a parallel link or parallel way that you could find something like this, but the Canadian government specifically, and I'll just open that for us to kind of see what it looks like. The Canadian government has structured a a web portal that is going to give us an opportunity to put in information about our organization. And from there, we will be able to identify the different types of grants that is available. So I'm just going to put this in the chat for everyone. Sorry, my computer is acting a little slow. So Kay, your question is your address considered as a virtual business location or a registered agent? So it is a virtual business location. So you could get a private office with us, or you could get hot desk, dedicated desk, or a virtual address is what we see most people need. And so that virtual address definitely supports you with not putting your home address on your grant and funding opportunities. So this is it here. So say I am looking for, and you could select all of the above, specifically grants and funding. And then it goes through like, how much are you looking for? All of those things. Are you looking to grow? All of that. And I'll just click, someone was talking about R&D a little. Let's say, I think it was in the marine. Let's see if we have tourism. Let's do that. The stage of your business. Let's go. Yeah, development. So again, I am just literally putting out, hypothetical things that could be relevant to you, but the invitation here is each of you should go through this for your own business, and answer accordingly. I'm just trying to get to an outcome so you could see what it looks like in this way. And then show me all programs not accepting, or you could show me only programs that are accepting, right? So when you fill it out, you will see that it will give you an output of different things that you may be qualified to look into, right? So as it relates to loans and investments, tax credits, wages, subsidies, as I mentioned, the Canada Summer Jobs thing was just open and close, I believe. Expert advice, partner in location, research facilities. So my invitation to all of you is definitely take that link and see what is relevant for you to engage with and work off of. So the next thing that I would point you to, so one of these are some grants for profit spaces. Not all of them are maybe relevant or open at the moment. But again, how we operate here is we find some good clusters of grants that, whether you are Black serving organization or not, whether you are a startup or not, there may be relevant ones that you could take advantage of, right? So the ask here is really looking at, who you are. Go back to that Canada Business Benefits Finder. They will find more, but these ones here are ones that we have successfully gotten. These are ones that we have successfully helped others get, and they are very relevant to take a look at so that you could see where you potentially fit. And again, you will get access to the deck to take a look in a greater way for yourself as well. So the other two, if you identify as a social enterprise, so I believe it was Lisa, I don't know the full structure of how you're looking to position your tourism business. However, we're talking about things related to the water. We're talking about, in that way, we're talking about environmental. Maybe there is an angle you have for your business that it's not just about profit, but you're looking at the social environmental impact that is relevant for you in that way and your community. There are grants that exist for social enterprise. So I like to say, if you're a business if you're a for-profit doing business for good, meaning that you have considered additionally the people, the planet, um, you know, in that way, and the profits, right? So we want to make sure, whether you're a for-profit or non-profit, we want to make sure that you are developing something that you're not just going to be dependent on grants for its existence. So someone asked the question, do you um, register as a for-profit or non-profit? What I would say about that at this time is that it really comes down to, what do you want, right? When, as a business strategist working with entrepreneurs, the mission or the vision sometimes, hey, I want to be able to get the time freedom. I want to get, feel fulfilled in the life mission work that I'm doing. I want to pass something on to the next generation, my legacy, my kids, my family, all of this stuff. The truth is, the the nonprofit may be able to give you the fulfillment that you want. It may be able to give you the financial freedom that you want, but to be able to pass something generationally in a non-traditional nonprofit way, that is limiting, right? A nonprofit is for the community. So it is not something that you could pass on to inheritance in that way. So my thing is, if you're just starting out and trying to figure out momentum, why not create a social enterprise, a for-profit version of your business model that can feed you, feed your family, be able to generate sales, and still do social good at the core of its business? And we help people structure their social enterprises, reimagine. So Lisa, if you're saying you're not familiar with that kind of concept, that's something that we work in our consultancy to help entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders figure out that pathway, that the core could still remain, I want to do something of positive impact, but it must be able to generate revenue, right? So just keep that in mind. And if you're not familiar with the terminology of a social enterprise, I would invite you to take the name down. It's very newer in Canada. I think in the US, there are social enterprise as a type of business that you could register. But in Canada, we're not there yet. But one of the things is, it's not about greenwashing to say we're doing good. It's about actually being able to document the impact that you're having, right? So just keep that in mind as you're building momentum in that way for your organization. So this slide was specifically, we had a couple of people that registered saying that they were, either Black organization or Black serving organizations, serving other entrepreneurs. And we highlighted some of the Black initiative that the banks are offering. If you're not Black, if you're not Black serving organization in that way, just know that these traditional banks have lending programs or opportunities for you as well, right? So the doors are open for loans and things. Just for the Black community specifically, there are additional programming or supports within these organizations for that. Again, here are this is related to loans. Sometimes when you are starting out, you use all of your savings, and, it could be wise to find additional working capital to help you. Definitely a way forward in that way. So these are some lending programs. as you know, with this info session today, it's talking about funding in general as well as grants. So a possible funding vehicle for you is exploring the loan programs. So, really highlighting we are able to write grants for folks. We are able to identify grants for you. The one I mentioned earlier was the Grant Hunter University, which teaches you how to research grants, teaches you how to assess what the funder is looking for, teaching you how to write grants. And then, as I mentioned to you, the addition to this is really looking at how to leverage AI to help you write more grants more efficiently, all of this stuff. I always say to people with AI, don't just copy and paste what it's given you. Like, it is up to you still to validate and verify. But imagine I say AI doesn't have a heart or soul, right? You ask it a question, it gives you whatever it wants to give. The better way to use it is imagine now having your initial grant written or your business plan written. That is your heart, your soul, your mission, your vision, all of that. And then you're able to feed that to the tool and it's able to give you an output. And that's really some of the things that we learn in that course. And it is a self-directed course. We find people take maybe 2 to 3 weeks to complete it. It's not that long, but just because everything else is happening, but it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in the US, if you're in Nigeria, if you're here in Canada, it is a great tool that can help you write your first grant, prepare for your next grant, right? And that's how we actually see it. So just in terms of grant writing services that we have seen and the clients that we've served, if you're, looking for grant writing services, we do assess your operational budget and being able to tailor different packages to you in that way, right? So for the ones at the 0 to 29 $1,000 range, one-time grant writing is about 1,500. And beyond that, for all of the others, they are packages. So at that $5,000 price point, you may get 5 grants written or 3 grants written, depending on the size of the grant. Rarely do we do, people have approached us to be able to write, hey, write it. If I'm successful, you get a percentage and all of those things. We have done it for organizations and in the past and companies in the past. However, they were very specific. So it's not something that we do for everybody, but we are open to exploring if you're the right fit. And typically, we select those companies based on their historical journey and what they're specifically looking for. So if they're looking for grants in the R&D space, so research and development space, we tend to have a higher output or result in that way. And therefore, we're able to support in that way as well. But just have a conversation with us and kind of gives you a sense of what we do. So another breakdown looking at hiring grants, community grants, depending on what you're looking for. Sometimes grants are only $500. Sometimes grants are 10,000. Sometimes grants are $1 million. Sometimes grants are 1 page. Sometimes grants are 60 pages, like it really depends. But we do have a kind of gauge when we do look at federal and provincial grants. We're able to just adjust accordingly as well. And so the first step, so if you have a phone, you can scan this, but again, you will get the information shortly. And this will bring you to our grant writing intake form. It just simply means you're going to answer some questions. And when we meet, you will have an opportunity to share a little bit more, talk about what you're looking for. And it also helps us to start looking to see, hey, which potential grants are out there that could be a good fit for you. So yeah, and as you know, we have these sessions happening every second Wednesday, as I mentioned earlier, but we do also have other sessions to support entrepreneurs along their journey. And the ask or invitation with us here is, if you're just starting out and you need guidance, reach out to us, come and see us. My link will be also sent out to you. As a business strategist, I meet with clients on a daily basis to help them get structured, find their first sale, and really figure out how to take their business to the next level. So I will stop. So these are just some additional ways that you can connect with us. You could check out our website. So empoweredfacts.com, ACBN, and I will stop sharing and see if there's any questions and be able to answer, answer your questions. Stop sharing. So I see here in the chat, yeah, so Lisa, if definitely explore social enterprise. It could be a great space for you to structure your business accordingly. A good tool that I would recommend is looking at business model canvas. So you're able to map out your business in a simplified way. And this is for everybody. You want to be able to communicate or understand your business model, because if your revenues are solely dependent on grants and funding, that is not a sustainable business in the long run, right? And what I could say about our governments today is that they want to even see nonprofits move to more sustainability by leveraging the social enterprise model, right? The example that I oftentimes like to give people is like Salvation Army and the thrift stores, right? Salvation Army owns the thrift store, and the thrift stores are the ones generating additional revenue to sustain the impact of the nonprofit, right? So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about what you're structuring and how you're structuring it. Another example I would like to give as a social enterprise for profit. So that was a social enterprise nonprofit. My colleague Ryan, who typically facilitates these sessions, runs a mobile car detailing company. And so typically when you think about washing a car, you're probably thinking about 100 liters of water to wash an entire car. Imagine having a 6-ounce plant-based solution to wash an entire car, right? And so that's one angle of social impact and enterprising. The other piece is that he works with at-risk youth, so youth coming out of detentions or different spaces like that, to help them learn leadership, entrepreneurship, and run a mini version of his business, right? So that's an example. Another for-profit one that I like here in Brampton, where I'm located, Christina's um, to Christina's cupcake shop, and she basically, the woman has a daughter on the Down syndrome, who has Down syndrome. And as you may know, anyone with a disability or any, who is different in any capacity are oftentimes underemployed or unemployed. And so seeing this fact, her daughter having anticipating her life and what it could be if she was supported in a community. So and her daughter loved making cupcakes. So her and her daughter started the cupcakes, and now they hire other people who may be on the autism spectrum or people with Down syndrome to create employability for them, right? So that's like an employment-based social enterprise. So whatever you choose to do, just keep in mind that it's not about just saying it. It has to be part of your DNA in terms of what you do on a daily basis. Kay, I see your hand raised.
Yes, hi. So I would like to know with um the grant revision, because every grant has like certain particularities and certain requirements, and it's always recommended to customize our business plan to fit the grant proposal. Do you guys also do the business plan analysis and the business plan revision to make sure that it not only is in alignment with the grant and its requirement, but that we basically can really, I don't want to say like customize, but can really hit our target when we're like, submitting it for the judges or submitting it for like a program.
Yeah, so great question. So definitely our approach here is we definitely want to understand the funders first, right? So our team spends extensive time reviewing the funders' requirements, not only present, but historically. We love to see what they funded in the past. So we could also sit with you and say, hey, based on what they've done in the past, we can definitely see that it is a good fit. When it comes specific around that project piece, yes, we are able to help you build out the project plan accordingly. Sometimes grants don't require you submitting your full business plan. Sometimes they do, right? I don't think I've seen a request recently for a full business plan, but the beauty is that you must know your full business plan, because many of the questions that's asked refers to your operations, refers to your management, refers to your budgeting, refers to the income coming in, income going out, right? So in many ways, you must know what your business model and business plan is to be able to answer. And we're definitely able to help review the application before you submit it, and both help you develop your business plan and help you review that as well.
Okay. Can I ask like a part two to my question?
Go for it.
Okay. So, you mentioned that there are different fees for the revision and the analysis.
Yeah.
Can you give me
Yeah.
like a ballpark of what the median is for those
Yeah.
fees?
So it really depends, as I said, and you probably have seen it. Grants sometimes have 2 pages, sometimes they have literally 60 questions, right? Or more, right? Depending on what it is. So depending on the grant, it is a little bit varied, but the base is at 150 per for the grant, if I could say that. You've done all the work and you're now saying, hey, I need someone to review it. Typically starts at 150.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. And we have had sessions. So for example, the session that we just had around Canada summer jobs, I mean, I can't tell you exactly how many questions, but I mean, the beauty of having a subject matter expert in the room, you're going line by line. We are talking about each one, and you know, that would not be at 150. It would be a little bit less, but just understand it's really by grant. But the average grant, I would say, starts at 150.
Okay. And you mentioned that that program is closed, right? The applications are closed?
For the Canada summer jobs,
Yeah.
I do believe it did close recently. If it's not, you will get an email with the links, and I would just say, just double check, right? I always tell people double check. Sometimes there's extensions. I think we did the grant writing session together on December 4th, and I think it was closing like December 8th. So yeah, I could double check as well for you.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem. Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? I see you're unmuted, Charlene. I think I saw that correct. Oh, okay. Um, yeah. So Carlene, I see you have a question here for business. that isn't generating income right now, what do you suggest we do in order to improve our chances for grant writing? That is a great question. So, Charlene, if I can ask you, or Carlene, sorry, is your business a for-profit or non-profit?
Um, I feel that's a hard question because it's a podcast, right? And so pretty much I'm not really with the mindset of making money off of it. I think it'll be great to get sponsors in the long run, right? But right now I'm working on consistency again. So it's like what's the word? It's media related, like, in that sense. So it's like a podcast is kind of like a radio station where the way to make money from it is um, generating more listeners. So at this juncture, I need to get more downloads in order for anyone to consider sponsoring my show.
Hey, that's valid. And so it sounds like you know the path already. With podcasts, I can't say that I've seen or heard directly of any grants definitely targeted to that, but there is Canada Media funded organization that do grant creators and stuff. I can't remember the name of them specifically, but I will Canada Creates, I think it's called. I will double check and I could let you know, Carlene, if you could just send me an email, I could definitely look it up and get that to you. But what I was gonna say, for everybody on here, if you are just starting out, there are sometimes grants available to startups, right? Whether it's in the for-profit or non-profit space. But sometimes they are very rare to find. So my invitation for all of us, 2025 is just around the corner. Can we not put profits as part of the impact? So impact for me is always first. How can I make a positive difference? So your podcast could be telling that story. Your podcast could be doing whatever is necessary to elevate, enhance, help people, inspire people, motivate people to do X, whatever X is for you. But we want to be operating in sustainable spaces, right? And not just for your podcast, even if you're a nonprofit, and this is why I was saying nonprofit expectations today is that you also have a path for sustainability. So whether you're Darren, my friend, doing the community collective, I believe that Sharon, you're doing the nonprofit initiative. The question that I'm asking all of my nonprofit people in particular is, at what point can I keep my doors open without depending on external funding? Because when we get into these spaces saying, I need a handout, I need a grant, I need this, it limits us ultimately from achieving greater impact. What if we started something that had the potential to, yes, get access to capital, grants, and funding as needed as a path, but it also has the ability to be sustainable, right? I come from a nonprofit background, and I could tell you I've been part of a system where the funding runs out, the program ends, door closed, people aren't helped, the impact isn't done. How about we work to change that narrative? And for my folks that are, just starting out with their for-profit or figuring out what it is, I invite you to truly focus. Your number one job right now is, how do I become sustainable? How do I find that customer? And it's true marketing. You have to be able to raise attention to your brand to be able to attract customers, paying customers, right? And so the invitation for everyone, a lot of grants and funders do ask the question, what track record do you have? How many people have you served? How much revenue do you have? And you don't necessarily need to say thousands or hundreds of thousands, but they at least want to know that you have the clarity of who you're going to be selling to, right? Or who is going to be, yes, from an impact perspective, you're saying these lives are going to be changed. But the question still begs, who is paying for this impact? Right? And that's really the emphasis or the focus here at Empowered Facts, really helping and working with entrepreneurs to help get that clarity around their business model. So I share again, if you're not familiar with it, Google it, the business model canvas. And for anyone, you have my my email in the chat. I will also put my calendar link. I would definitely love to connect with you all to understand a little bit more and figure out how best we could support you on the next stages of your business development. I hope that was helpful to you all. Carlene, I hope that was helpful as well. So, and for you, podcast, I would say even at this stage, yeah, you may not have a ton load of following if that's where you're just kind of restarting. But what I would say is that can you all hear me? I see that the sound was lost. What I would say is that you want to be able to, you want to be able to, in your case, Carlene, I would say find sponsorships. That should be your primary focus. Sponsorship is a business model to help sustain your business in these early stages, right? So while you're waiting for the number of while you're waiting for the reviews, while you're waiting for whatever you're waiting for, you have to be going out and selling and getting some sponsorships. Yes, so that would be my recommendation. Any additional questions? As I mentioned earlier, you will get access to you will get access to the recording as well as the deck that I shared as well with all of the links. I'm looking at my calendar and realize that it is not up to date. I am not working the week of Christmas. So don't book in that week. I'll be taking some time off. If you did get in, I will reschedule you, but no, it's because we all need a break at times, right? I hope you all are going to be taking some time off for the holiday as well. Yes. Any final questions, thoughts, or concerns? Okay, folks, it has been a tremendous privilege and pleasure to serve you. And definitely, I hope you found this time valuable. You will get an email with the content. We definitely want to hear from you, connect with you, learn a little bit more, and find out how we could support and serve you. And yeah, don't be a stranger. Let's connect. So I also offer courses. Yeah, I definitely, you want to be we're actually building out a podcast studio here, a presenter space where you can come and record your content and productize. So definitely productize your content. It's important, right? You could set it and forget it, and create a magnet to, lead generation magnet towards it, and you will be good to go, right? And we help people do that here as well. So it has been a pleasure connecting. Thank you all, and stay in touch.